ban raha hai. And previously we thought of just having the Rath Yatra on one day, but now Prabhuji said that it will be a 9-day Rath Yatra. I don't know how that will get manifested, but it will be a 9 days Rath Yatra. Jagannath ji will stay there for 9 days. There will be different program. What program, I don't know. We have to plan something nicely. There will be prasad distribution. These things will be there. So maybe Jagannath is forcing us and pushing us, giving us courage. At the same time, he's also giving us some fear that how things will happen. But somehow I'm sure things will get manifested in some way or the other. So this very special time is going on. At the same time, we have kind of resolved that we will start having medical camps in our Gokul Dham every month, once in a month. So we need all of your support for that. So also some Midnapur devotees here. Yeah, Nihar. Only Nihar is here. Okay. So from Midnapur also we are sure devotees will come, and also from Kolkata. So this we will start under our this banner of this is called Abhay Charan or something, some name we have to think, like starting with Abhay. That's what I planned. Later we will culminate to hospital. That's what we have thought. But this will just be a humble beginning of that project. Monthly medical camp. So we need all of your support. So this is devotional service actually. Devotional service means we are engaged. We are just not doing some mental speculation. We are engaged for the service of Krishna. This is Krishna's service. This is on behalf of Krishna. We are going to take care of people. We are going to preach Krishna consciousness. And all this is to enhance Krishna consciousness within our life and within the life of others. So we need all of you because we are just 5 of us are here. So naturally, we need all of you. And I'm sure all of you are also there with us. Hare Krishna. So this is what Krishna told to Arjun, that you know why I am telling you all these things. Again, why I am telling you all these things, right? Because as Krishna told Arjun, Bhakto asi mein sakha cheti. I cannot say you are my bhaktas. Definitely you are not my bhaktas. You are Krishna's bhaktas. But I can say you all are my kind of spiritual student to some extent. And yes, we have a friendly relationship. Friendly relationship in the sense that we share the same cause. We share the same cause of serving Srila Prabhupada, of pleasing Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and all of us, we want to practice devotional service. And I'm very happy that all of you have taken up devotional service so seriously. Like I can see, I was seeing somebody's WhatsApp status, not status, DP. Samarpans, yes. I saw Samarpan with the bead bag and all. He is there in his DP. And this is actually so nice because, you know, his friends must be seeing him, his relatives must be seeing him. Naturally, they will ask him question that what is this, this, that. Many people might say things negatively that, "Arey, shadu hoye gale." But some people will really come up to him and ask, what is this? And so, you know, they will respond. Many of you share many different, like somebody shared today, I think Pratik, yeah, no time to read Bhagavad Gita, that thing. And then, not Pratik, I think his father, Pankaj Prabhu. Yeah, actually, I see Lakhani. So there's Pankaj Lakhani Prabhu, Pratik Lakhani, his father shared, right? So, you know, that is very good. Like sometimes Shivang shares from his, पता नहीं कौन सा एक notes बनाता है वो WhatsApp chat में, and that he just shares. So these are very good things. Spandan shares, and many of you do that. So in a way, all this endeavor are like we are all trying to support Srila Prabhupada, support Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Of course, they don't need our support, but by doing this, we are becoming more and more empowered. So Krishna said that I told you, I am telling you all these things, Arjun, because bhakto asima sakha cheti. I know I can, like, he's a confidant of Krishna. Arjun is a confidant of Krishna. Similarly, all these things should be shared among devotees who feel for you. And all of you are like that. All of you, like this Sunday class, I heard from Anuj. Aman did so much for that. He broadcasted it, made plans, many things he did in the background. So all of you, mostly all of you, are doing amazing things for Krishna consciousness. So I'm very thankful. And at the same time, with the same mood, I am telling you, all of you, like Krishna told Arjun, uh, Sa evaya mayatyadya yoga prokta puratana bhakto asime sakha cheti rahasyam hi etad uttamam. That is the reason we are sharing this rahasya. We are sharing this great secret of Bhagavad Gita amongst each other. So this message of Bhagavad Gita, this is not ordinary. Time and again, Krishna is emphasizing on that Arjun, please don't take it ordinary. And if somehow or the other, for a moment, if we take it ordinary, to be ordinary, then we will uh, lose the very important message which is there for us. Why? Because this message is the essence of all the spiritual knowledge, right? It is the essence of all spiritual knowledge. Now somebody can say that fine, it is the essence of all spiritual knowledge, but I'm not interested in spirituality. Who cares about spirituality? But then we have to tell him, but okay, fine, you don't care about spirituality, but at least you want to continue in this world. You want to manage yourself in this world, right? And Vedas are like Kalpavriksha. The Vedic scriptures are like Kalpavriksha that can give you guidance for everything, basically, everything. How to deal with different things, how to continue yourself in a different way. It can give you guidance of every subject matter, right? And Bhagavad Gita is even the essence of that. Bhagavad Gita even is essentially speaking about all those knowledge, right? So even to continue in this world, even to continue ourselves in this world, we need to act in a very positive spiritual way, right? And that is just that is needed, and that is there in Bhagavad Gita. So Bhagavad Gita is just not a religious book. It's just not a religious treatise. It is the essence of all spiritual understanding, right? This shlokas, this understanding. So Arjun, Krishna is time and again he is imparting that importance. He is just invoking that thing within the heart of Arjun, that Arjun, please don't mistake it for something ordinary. Please don't mistake it for something ordinary. This is very essential. And another thing which is there also very necessary, that you know uh, doubts are a big problem in our lives, right? In a way, if the doubt, if we possess the doubt so that we can get it clarified, then it is very nice, then there is no problem. But if we are doubting the thing to reject it, to negate it, then that will deprive us of that particular object, right? Because then we are presenting the doubt to reject what I am getting. It's like, you put a mirror in front of a light ray. What will happen? The light ray will get reflected through that mirror, right? You don't put a mirror to absorb the light ray, right? Similarly, negative doubts, apprehensive doubts, they are like the reflecting mirrors. So Arjun, on behalf of all of us, is presenting that um, that kind of reflective and apprehensive doubt. And Krishna is kind of breaking the mirror, right? Krishna is kind of breaking the mirror. Or I would not express this word that Krishna broke the mirror. Krishna, in a very friendly way, he took the mirror and removed the mirror and placed it somewhere else, right? He removed the mirror. That means he removed the doubt of Arjun, right? That is what Krishna did, very positively. Krishna did. So this removal of doubt has to be there. For that, again, For that, again, the same qualification is needed to have positive doubt. One has to be, favorably disposed towards the practice of Krishna consciousness. So this favorable disposition happens when we render some service. So everything at last culminates into seva. Everything at last culminates into service, right? The more we render service, the more we are positively inclined toward Krishna consciousness. So what is the doubt that Arjuna is presenting to Krishna? That we will read now, right? So this is the shloka which Krishna says that Arjun, because you are my friend and devotee, I am sharing this with you. But then Arjun is asking on behalf of all of us, Arjuna uvacha aparam bhavato janma param janma vivaswataha kathametad vijaniyam tvam ado proktavaniti. Arjun said, the sun god Vivaswan is senior by birth to you. How am I to understand that in the beginning you instructed this science to him? He simply asked, because Krishna said that imam vivashvate yogan proktavan aham avyam vivashvan manave prahur manur ikshva kave bravit. He said, iman vivashvate yogan. Previously, I have given this to sun god. Vivashvan manave prahur. Vivashvan gave it to his son, Manu. Manu Ikshva Kave Bravit. Then Manu gave it to his son, Ikshvaku. And in this way, it just flowed through the chain of dynasty. So then Arjun says, wait a minute, what is this? You are just contemporary to me. You have just taken birth with me. How is it that, you have told this Vivashvan? How should I digest this? Like on this last Sunday class when we were just going with flow, that what Krishna did, different childhood pastimes and all. There was one lady. She was very honest, I would say. She just came up, Prabhuji, I want to ask a question in Bengali. What is this? How to understand? How to believe? These are stories. How can we have faith on these stories that Krishna killed Putana, Krishna killed this, Krishna killed that? How to believe this, right? So the same question Arjun is kind of asking. Because yes, what Krishna does is super excellent. And what we do is like super normal, right? That is actually below normal, below ordinary. Even, animals, they move on the street when there is sunshine and summers. They don't have a AC, they don't have a fan, they don't have, this cooling agents and things like that. They survive. But we, if there is some amount of sun rays on our head, we would immediately say, Prabhuji, আমি না গরমটা সহ্য করতে পারি না, somehow my head reels and all these things, So sometimes we are like super ordinary. We are like too ordinary, right? Not even at par the level of the animals and the plants, or even the microbes. There are certain microbes who can sustain even fire. We had I remember in our English text, there was one chapter, there was one kind of one story, some allegorical story. And the name of the story is the triumph of the cockroaches, right? That how the cockroaches never gets defeated. Even if there is an earthquake, even if there is a atom bomb, even if there is an atom bomb, then still, this cockroaches won't die. They will enter in some corner. Kahin pe to ghus ke wahan pe continue karta rahega cockroach, right? So this, animals and plants and insects, they are more strong than all of us. So Krishna's activity are super excellent and we are super ordinary. So when, Krishna's activity, super excellent activities are spoken, our head reels. We say, wait, Prabhuji, wait, what is this going on? How to accept this? How to believe this? A 3-year-old, boy, 3-year-old, not even 3-year-old, 3-day-old child killed a big demon as Putana. This does not exist. This is mythology. This is story, right? So the same way, but why this is happening? This is happening because we consider Krishna to be somebody ordinary. And as per our understanding, no ordinary person can do something like this, something extraordinary like this. Somehow we are not accustomed only to understand the concept of God, because we are very much accustomed to use our logic and understanding to contemplate this cause and effect thing of this world. Whatever we see, it is a result of cause and effect. Somebody is switching on the light, switching on, that is the reason there is light. So whenever there is light, we have in mind that somebody has switched it on, right? We have in mind that somebody has made the wiring. We have in mind that there is some electrical connection. So we are just bound up with this concept that every cause, every every cause has an effect. You are bound up like this understanding, because it has to be for us, and it is very true for us. If it's our case, it is a cause and effect thing. But for Krishna, but for God, this cause and effect thing does not work, right? Because he's the cause, he's the effect. He's both. He's acting in that way. He's both. He's cause, he's effect. He's the, somewhere he's saying, I'm the seed giving father. Aham bija pradapita. And then some other place he's saying, Hiranmayana patrena. I am the womb, right? So how can somebody be the seed giving person and at the same time he is the womb, right? But Krishna says, I am that, I am this, I am that. Krishna is saying to Brahmaji, Rite artham yak pratiyeta na pratiyeta cha atmani. He said, Krishna actually told Brahmaji that whatever you see, know that it is my expansion. And if you can't relate anything with me, then know that that is the cause of your ignorance, right? And your fall down. That will drag you out of, that will just make you come out of this godly consciousness, right? So Krishna is like beyond this cause and effect thing, and we are in this cause and effect thing. But this duality we have to realize. This, knowing this knowledge, having this knowledge, basically is a sign of liberation. Then we are liberated. But till the time we are continuing with this knowledge that nothing exists other than this cause and effect thing, till the time we are bound in this world, till the time we are just stuck up in this world, till the time actually we are within this cause and effect thing. But the moment we understand Krishna's position, we are liberated from this cause and effect situations, right? So this is a secret which we have to understand. And Srila Prabhupada said this needs training. This needs training. Overnight, it cannot happen. It cannot happen that I'll ask somebody a question, he will reply me either in such a way, such an illuminating way that in one day I'll accept, okay, God exists and everything of God is there. God, Krishna did Putana pastime, Trinavarta, this, that, everything Krishna did. This cannot happen in one day. This is like training and then also samskar that we develop. So it needs perseverance to have this faith within us, right? It needs to have this faith it needs a lot to have this faith within us. So this needs cultivation. Some cultivation has to be there. If the cultivation is not there, then this faith will not develop within our heart. And then we will continue to be like, Prabhuji, how did Krishna did like this? I think all this is like mythology and all. And has to be there. The history is also like that. We see who is interpreting our scriptures. Max Muller, right? And this, foreign philosophers, they are interpreting our scriptures. And why they are interpreting our scriptures? To prove that our scriptures are kind of rubbish, right? To prove, अरे देखो क्या लिखता है ये सब गंदा उल्टा पुल्टा चीज लिखता है. There is nothing, no basis, nothing like that. But actually what they are speaking does not have any basis, right? They think that our scriptures are like this Bhim. They have made Chota Bhim to make the Chota Bhim like act in a way like some characters like Superman, Spider-Man, things like that. Or Krishna to be like some superhero. This is some superhero. So they are living on a scale or they are living in a standard of falsity. So they consider our scriptures also to be like this. So they are interpreting our scriptures and they are systematically propagating that, no, whatever is there, it's false, it's false, it's false, it's false, it's false. It is like this. And with that, they are just doing a continuous brainwash and we are in a constant, um, you know, we are very much eager to understand what they are speaking to us, right? And it is like kind of a symbol of great status to understand, to hear from them, to hear Western philosophy, to hear their interpretation, to say, yes, everything Indian is so bad. India is like, ye ho raha hai, wo ho raha hai. Of course, there is that. India is not meant for all this technological advancement or things like that. But India is meant for the spiritual knowledge. And what they do, they systematically they come to India and speak bogus things about India's cultural heritage, India's spiritual heritage, right? So that is our problem. And following their footsteps, so many Indian philosophers are also nowadays, not nowadays, it has been like since many, many days, they are saying that, yes, Ram is not is a mythological character, Krishna is a mythological character, they did not exist, this king does not exist, that king does not exist. And unfortunately, they are writing the histories. They are writing the histories, and we are reading the histories. And by reading those histories, we are writing exams, we are mugging that history up, we are teaching that history. And somehow this is so unfortunate that even, for the IAS training, this IAS, IPS, this to crack the exam, they have the training. And in those training modules also, they have such misinformation about our scriptures and spiritual philosophies. In such a mistaken way, they teach the philosophies, right? So in this way, the whole atmosphere is of negativity. That is the reason, even though we want, but still we are unable to. That is the reason this kind of weekly classes, this kind of systematic study, this kind of training. That is the reason Prabhupada said we also have to be trained in the positive aspect. The positive aspect also has to be imparted. Even sometimes what happens, even in the way of training, we just go very superstitious. We become superstitious. So that is one end. ठीक है, जो भी मिल रहा है, I blindly accept. And the other end is, जो भी मिल रहा है, I blindly reject. Right? So we are moving basically in this two pole. And on the contrary, now this is one side of the story. And the other side of the story is, जिनको ये सब पता चल रहा है, those who are not that, those who are systematically understanding, those who want to continue, they are lacking sincerity because the society is such that you have to run in the rat race. If you don't run in the rat race, you'll be considered insignificant. So they are running in the rat race, even though they understand, they're unable to practice it properly. So in this way, it is a difficult situation, but somehow this is not an impossible situation, right? So Srila Prabhupada wrote beautiful purport to it, to this doubt of Arjun. So we'll read that purport. Yeah, one of you, please read.
Arjuna is an accepted devotee of the Lord, so how could he not believe Krishna's words? The fact is that Arjuna is not inquiring for himself, but for those who do not believe in the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or for the demons who do not like the idea that Krishna should be accepted as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For them, only Arjuna inquires on this point, as if he were himself not aware of the personality of Godhead or Krishna. As it will be evident from the 10th chapter, Arjuna knew perfectly well that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the fountainhead of everything, and the last one in transcendence. Of course, Krishna also appeared as the son of Devaki on this earth. How Krishna remained the same Supreme Personality of Godhead, the eternal original person, is very difficult for an ordinary man to understand. Therefore, to clarify this point, Arjuna put his question before Krishna so that he himself could speak authoritatively. That Krishna is the supreme authority is accepted by the whole world, not only at present but from time immemorial, and the demons alone reject him. Anyway, since Krishna is the authority accepted by all, Arjuna put this question before him in order that Krishna would describe himself without being depicted by the demons, who always try to distort him in a way understandable to the demons and their followers. it is necessary that everyone, for his own interest, know the signs of Krishna. Therefore, when Krishna himself speaks about himself, it is auspicious for all the worlds. To the demons, such explanation by Krishna himself may appear to be strange because the demons always study Krishna from their own standpoint. But those who are devotees heartily welcome the statements of Krishna when they're spoken by Krishna himself. The devotees will always worship such authoritative statements of Krishna because they are always eager to know more and more about him. The atheists who consider Krishna an ordinary man may in this way come to know that Krishna is superhuman, that he is Sat Sind Ananda
Sat Chit
Vigraha.
Ananda.
The
Sat Chit Ananda Vigraha.
Satchit Ananda Vigraha.
Right.
The eternal form of bliss and knowledge, and that he is transcendental, and that he is above the dominion of the modes of material nature and above the influence of time and space. A devotee of Krishna like Arjuna is undoubtedly above in your misunderstanding of the transcendental position of Krishna. Arjuna's putting this question before the Lord is simply an attempt by the devotee to defy the atheistic attitudes of persons who consider Krishna to be an ordinary human being, subject to the modes of material nature.
Yeah. So can any one of you just tell in one line that what was the theme of the purport? What was Srila Prabhupada mentioning in this purport? Just एक line में कोई बोलना चाहेंगे? Krishna is the supreme authority. Devotees accept it, and demons have been questioning it since a long time. Yeah. Okay. What else? Two very significant points Srila Prabhupada mentioned in the purport. And with those points, only Srila Prabhupada elaborated the purport. Two significant things Srila Prabhupada said. Yes. आप में से कोई बोलना चाहेंगे? First is Arjuna is not inquiring for himself. Yeah. Through that, there is the first point. And second point is, अगला वाला point कौन सा है? Yes, Shayan, you read the purport. You'd like to say?
So that the demons and the atheists, they have been questioning Krishna for a long time, and they do not accept his teachings. And it is the responsibility of those of his devotees to accept those teachings and clear the misconceptions of everyone else.
Yeah, right. And what Vishwanath Prabhu also wrote that Krishna is Satchidananda Vigraha. Like demons and atheists, they are misinterpreting Krishna. So now, from Krishna's lotus mouth only, we will get to know about Krishna. So let Krishna speak about himself. मानिए जैसे हम देखते हैं ना कोई एक पॉलिटिकल लीडर और फिल्म एक्टर कोई एमिनेंट पर्सन उसके बारे में कोई बहुत बुरा भला कुछ इधर उधर बोल रहे हैं सो व्हाट ही डज ही कम्स आउट एंड गिव्स अ व्हाट इज दैट कॉल्ड जिसमें बहुत सारे प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस he does a press conference and he does a press release उधर आके वो बोलते हैं नहीं नहीं ये सच है ये झूठ है and he establishes his fact his standpoint he says that I feel this my words are misinterpreted right so in that same way Krishna is doing that भगवान इधर वही कर रहे हैं Krishna is establishing himself by the answer by the question what Arjun has asked right so now Krishna will reply to this point. So we'll move ahead with that, what Krishna replied. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Bahuni me vyatitani janmani tavacharjuna tani aham veda sarvani natvam vittaha parantapaha. The personality of God had said, many births, both you and I have passed. I can remember all of them, but you cannot, O subduer of enemy. So this is the first thing which Krishna spoke, that Arjun, please try to understand. And that is for all of us. Please try to understand we are different. We are not the same, bro, right? We are different. Krishna is telling this. So Krishna is telling both of us, we have taken birth. You also have taken birth. I also have taken birth. You have forgotten, but I have remembered, right? I have remembered all the situations, what all things we have been doing, what all activities we went through, and everything, Krishna said. So this is a very, very important point. There is one verse in Shvetashvatara Upanishad. It speaks about that there are two birds sitting on the same tree. Now, one of the bird is very eager to search. Where is food? Where is food? Like you have seen birds, सुबह उठते ही वो क्या करते हैं? किच 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 किच, like they make sounds. Like where is food? Where is food? Where is food? They do like this. They are always searching after food, right? So this one bird, this bird is like filled with hankering, and whenever it is tasting some fruit, the bird tastes that fruit and the fruit tastes bitter. So the bird is more miserable, right? So that is the situation of all of us. We are trying to be happy in this world, and we thought just by getting this, I'll be happy. गर्मी में एसी लगा देते हैं, बहुत खुश होंगे, बहुत ज्यादा अच्छा लगेगा. उसके बाद when somebody gets the electric bill, he says, oh my god, this is not good, right? When he has to pay that huge electric bill. So in this way, whenever we are trying to be happy in this world by doing some endeavor, then what happened? Something else. Then something else happens. Some other things happen. Like I know devotees who have like studied very hard with a lot of aspiration. They have gone into some particular stream. And then he finds that somebody else from some other stream in lesser time, he is getting, more salary package, and, he's getting settled quickly. So he says, प्रभु जी क्या कर रहा हूँ मैं जीवन में, कुछ तो किया ही नहीं, क्या हो रहा है, मेरा समय बर्बाद हो गया, ये क्यों चूज किया मैं, वो क्यों चूज किया मैं, right? And especially this happens with medical students who see their friends who has gone into BTech and all. After 4 years, they are, happily settled ever after. They thinks, of course, it does not happen with them. They thinks they are happily settled ever after. They says that after 4 years, I got into internship. And in internship, maybe I was having the stetho around my neck. I was thinking I'm a doctor. But here I am being, made to run from pillar to post like a, ward boy or some receptionist or some, छोटा मोटा वैसे ही मैं भाग रहा हूँ इधर ये सब करने के लिए. And then he feels now internship is done, this convocation is done, वो टोपी वोपी उड़ाना हो गया, सब कुछ हो गया, now I'm a doctor. But then he feels that the second ordeal comes. He does not have a proper rank in that post graduation thing. तो बस उसके बाद प्रिपरेशन का चक्की घुमाते रहना पड़ेगा for another year or something like that. After that, the story doesn't end here. So in this way, it's troublesome everywhere, and for everyone this is troublesome. Now for people who are like say very poor and they are kind of doing their things, they have acquired, suppose they acquire a land and try to build a house. They think that this is so difficult for us to do something. Recently I was speaking to one person. He was like very rich, like one of the richest person in Kolkata. So I asked him that, Prabhuji, I heard that you got a new land. So your house is complete, the construction work is done, when will you get shifted over there? Then this devotee said that, Prabhuji, क्या बताओ, last 3 साल से corporation का चक्कर काट रहे हैं हम लोग. The paper is not getting cleared. तो घर बना ही नहीं पा रहे. And the thing is so bad in Kolkata. And then it was 15-20 minutes long, his hue and cry. So in this way, everybody is crying. The one who hasn't got married, he's crying internally, कब होगा, कब मैं settle हो जाऊंगा. And one who has got married, he is also crying internally, बाप रे बाप, हो ही गया मेरा last में, now I have to, go throughout the life. एक ही साथ चलना पड़ेगा, कंधे वो जो दो बुल रहते हैं ना, एक ही पीठ के ऊपर एक वो लगा दिया जाता है बड़ा सा लकड़ी का, पीछे से कैरेज. सो मैरिड लाइफ इज आल्सो लाइक दैट, बट स्टिल देयर इज होप. कुछ देर जाने के बाद चारा खिला दिया जाएगा. एंड अनमैरिड लाइफ इज लाइक वो जो भैंस गाय घूमता रहता है, जिनको खाने का नहीं है, घर नहीं है, वो कहीं भी गार्बेज में जाके मुंह देता है, उसका जीवन ऐसा है। तो कुछ लोग सोचते हैं कि खाने का इतना असुविधा है, शादी कर लेता हूँ, तो after marriage, maybe food will be easy for me. So one devotee was telling me, I told one devotee actually that Prabhuji, do you know cooking? He said, no, Prabhu, I don't know cooking. But it does not matter. Cooking, क्यों जानना भी क्यों है? Is it that for cooking I have got married? शादी कर लिया मैं, और cooking का क्या जरूरत है? And then some other devotee told, actually his wife also say like the same thing. His wife also says, शादी कर लिया मैं, अभी मुझे cooking का क्या जरूरत है? Now the husband should cook day and night, right? So in this way, people are not happy in this world. Actually, nobody is happy in this world. This is the world of misery. And even if externally things are very good, internally things are never good, right? Internally, it is always like a frictioning experience within our heart. How many of us, ठीक है, बोलने की जरूरत नहीं है, अंदर ही अंदर पता चल जाएगा. How many of you do self talk? कोई मुझे ये बोलेगा, ऐसा रिप्लाई कर दूंगा, ये बोलने आएगा, वो कर दूंगा, ये कर दूंगा, वो कर दूंगा. It is like always going back and forth within the mind, right? So this is just such a severe experience at times. So in this way, we are all in terrible misery. And in this miserable situation, we are carrying on. So this small bird in the tree who is always searching after fruit, he tries to eat the fruit, and whenever he eats it, he finds, oh, this is so bitter. And there is another bird in the tree who is watching this friend of him. And he has some good fruit with him. But the moment this bird turns his face towards the other bird and asks for fruit, the bird will give him the fruit, right? Now consider the situation of the two birds. One of the bird, he is always hankering, but he is in misery because he is not getting the proper food. And the other bird, he's always satisfied, and even he is benevolent. He has the fruit with him. And whenever the other bird turns, he will give him the fruit, right? So these two birds are not the same, right? Though they are equal looking, but they are not the same, right? They are different. So similarly, the bird who is free from all hankering, lamentation, and he is benevolent, that bird is Paramatma. That bird is God. And the bird who is always hankering and is in lamentation, that bird is basically all of us, right? In this world, we are always lamenting. We are always in the zone of hankering, right? So this is a situation. So Krishna says, Arjun, bhul gaye ho tum, but mujhe sab yaad hai. So this understanding that there is difference, that is a very, very major thing to realize. Now what happens? Just understand how you have studied. The more your classes have gone up, जैसे आप जब बच्चा एकदम छोटा रहता है, suppose is in first standard, kindergartens or things like that, उनको सब subject पढ़ा दिया जाता है, right? He studies all the subjects, right? But the more he grows up, he gets into specialization. He goes into more and more subject-oriented thing. Even for those of you who are, in medical studies or some other studies, even the ISI pass outs, right? Like those of you who are here, like say in graduation, you do again a big number of subjects, but in masters, you do a specialization. So segregating the thing, keeping denominations and keeping differences, that is basically the outcome of developed intelligence, right? So when we are in ignorance, then we feel I myself and Krishna is same, and therefore I cannot do mystical things, I cannot do super excellent things, so Krishna is also not able to do that. So that is like very lower level of understanding, right? But the higher level of understanding is that there is difference, there is huge difference. He is enjoyer and I am enjoyed, right? He is the one who accepts the service, and basically I am the one who renders the service. He is the one who by accepting the service becomes happy, and I am the one who by rendering the service becomes happy. So this is what we need to remember, right? And that's what we have forgotten. And because we have forgotten, we are into this constant mental agony and mental anxiety that how Krishna is doing all this mystical and miraculous things, right? So Krishna goes forward. Krishna does not stop here, right? Prabhupada wrote beautiful purport to this. Prabhupada quoted a shlok from Brahma Samhita. I will go to the translation. I worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Govinda Krishna, who is the original person, absolute, infallible, without beginning. Although expanded into unlimited forms, he is still the same original, the oldest, and the person always appearing as a fresh youth. Such eternal, blissful, all-knowing forms of the Lord are usually not understood by even the best Vedic scholars. Vedeshu durlabham, adurlabham atmabhakto, but they are always manifest to pure, unalloyed devotees, right? So, devotee, a devotee can realize. Now, there is another verse that Prabhupada also quoted, but we will read here, this part. Can one of you please read this? The Vedas, in the Vedas also it is said.
I worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Govinda Krishna, who is always situated in various incarnations, such as Rama, uh, Narsimha, and incarnations as well. But who is the original personality of Godhead known as Krishna, and who incarnates personally as also. In the Vedas also it is said that the Lord, although one without a second, manifests himself in innumerable forms. He is like Vadurya stone, which changes color, yes, still remains one. All these multiforms are understood by the pure unalloyed devotees, but not by a simple study of the Vedas. So I have to be that
Vedeshu durlabham, adurlabham atma bhakto.
devotees like Arjuna are constant companions of the Lord, and whenever the Lord incarnates, the associate devotees also incarnate in order to serve the Lord in different capacities. Arjuna is one of these devotees, and in this verse, it is understood that some millions of years ago, when Lord Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita to the sun god, Vibhashan, Arjuna in a different capacity was also present. But the difference between the Lord and Arjuna is that the Lord remembered the incident whereas Arjuna could not remember. That is the difference between the part and parcel living entity and the Supreme Lord. Although Arjuna is addressed herein as the mighty hero who could subdue the enemies, he is unable to recall what had happened in his various past births. Therefore, a living entity, however great he may be in the material estimation, can never equal the Supreme Lord. Anyone who is a constant companion of the Lord is certainly a liberated person, but he cannot be equal to the Lord. The Lord is described in the Brahma Samhita as infallible, which means that he never forgets himself, even though he is in material contact. Therefore, the Lord and the living entity can never be equal in all respects. Even if the living entity is as liberated as Arjuna. Although Arjuna is a devotee of the Lord, he sometimes forgets the nature of the Lord, and by the divine grace, a devotee can at once understand the infallible condition of the Lord, whereas the non-devotee or a demon cannot understand his transcendental nature. Consequently, these descriptions in the Gita cannot be understood by demonic brains. Krishna remembered acts which were performed by him millions of years ago, but Arjuna could not, despite the fact that both Krishna and Arjuna are eternal in nature. We may also note herein that a living entity forgets himself, everything due to his change of body. But the Lord remembers because he does not change his Satchit Ananda body. He is Advaita, which remembers there is no distinction between his body and himself. Everything in relation to him is spirit, whereas the conditioned soul is different from his material body. And because the Lord's body and self are identical, his position is always different from that of the ordinary living entity, even when he descends to the material platform. The demons cannot adjust themselves to this transcendental nature of the Lord, which the Lord himself explains in the following verse.
Right. So yes, one point from this verse from each one of you. Bataiye. Spandan, start. 1 point from this purport.
The Supreme Lord is Advaita and Achyuta, and any living entity can never be equal to him.
Yeah, so what is the meaning of Advaita? Prabhupada has mentioned this.
Advaita means that there is no difference between his body and his self.
Right,
They're,
there is no difference. But are we Advaita?
no, I think,
You think?
no, we are not.
We are not, right? We have a difference between our body and our soul, right? Okay, thank you. Yes, Samarpan. हाँ आएंगे, चिंता मत करिए माधव जी.
Prabhu,
You know,
basically,
I'm telling, I'm asking as per the screen, screen में जो एक के बाद एक है वैसे ही मैं बोल रहा हूँ. पता नहीं आपके पास क्या है, इसलिए शायद आपका आगे पीछे हो सकता है.
Prabhu, here Prabhupada has elaborated repeatedly how the living entity is different from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, like how we are not the same. So, like Krishna is Achyuta, he is the infallible one, whereas we
And
are
then,
not. Krishna remembers what he had done millions of years ago, but as
yes,
living entities, we cannot do so
yes, we forget.
because we are changing the body, whereas Krishna
Yes,
is
whenever
not
we
changing
change
his
the
body.
body, we
We
forget.
are forgetting the memory.
Right. Yes, Shivang. Shivang can write in the chat. Yes, Aman and Anuj, एक point बताओ. आपको अमन को भी तिलक पहना देना चाहिए था. अनम्यूट करके बताना होगा.
Yes, Prabhu, here also that Prabhupada is explaining that how the living entity and God is different. Although advanced devotee like Arjuna is also not able to recall his past experiences because his body and Krishna's body is different. Krishna is Sachit Anand, and he never changed his body. That's why he remembers all the past acts. And Arjuna, uh, despite being devotee, because his body is not Sachit Anand, he cannot remember the past acts. So Prabhupada is clearly mentioning the difference between the living entity and God.
Okay, तो आपने अमन का पॉइंट भी बता दिया क्या?
Guru Aman will tell.
Oh, अच्छा. Okay. This was a coalition government, लेकिन बाद में वो सपोर्ट हटा लिया. तो गवर्नमेंट टूट गया. Okay, fine. We accept that both of you are together, so एक साथ का ही point है. ठीक है. Yes, Pratik. 1 point from the purport.
So this is the point I'm building on Shivang's point only, like half I'm building on it, that he is saying Krishna has personal form, but he incarnates in different forms too. This in the second shloka addressed in the purport from Brahma Samhita chapter 5, shloka 39. From this was the reference in which Krishna has been depicted to have various incarnations, but simultaneously, while he's taking multiple incarnations, his personal form is also existing.
Perfect. Okay. Yes, Madhavji, बोलिए. I would like to request all of you, please pray for Madhav. Recently, he got married, so that they can have a very, very Krishna conscious life. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. बोलिए.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for your kind prayer. And what point I was going to tell, everyone has
बता दिया.
have said also.
अच्छा, ठीक है.
Yeah. Sachidanand Anand and Advaita.
Okay, okay.
The
So
same.
almost all the points are covered. So in this way, you can understand the theme. So every purport has a theme. Prabhupada wrote very, very systematic purports. Because Shayan has read the purport, so I'm not asking him. And बाकियों का तो वीडियोस ऑफ है, तो इसलिए मैं और नहीं पूछा, शायद बोलने की स्थिति में नहीं है, तो इसलिए नहीं पूछ रहा हूँ. But I am sure they all were there when the purports were read, right? And then Krishna goes further. So now we'll just refer to the PPT little bit. So this was the last, like chapter 3, the abbreviation was tree, and then chapter 4 is years. So this is eternal education. So this eternal education or eternal training module is there. So this is what Krishna said. Krishna gave to Vivaswan, Vivaswan to Manu, Manu to Ikshvaku. Evam parampara praptam. Right, so that is a parampara. So Vedas are like infallible wisdom. This is mentioned. Coming for the 4 prime paramparas. From Lakshmi Devi ka parampara, and then that Ramanujacharya is the Acharya. From Brahma's parampara, there Madhvacharya is the Acharya. Shivji's parampara, Vishnu Swami is the Acharya. And Chatush Kumar's parampara, Nimbarka Swami, Nimbarkacharya is the parampara. And we are getting this from through Srila Prabhupada, that is Brahma Madhva Gauriya Sampradaya. Right? So Krishna is saying this, Bhakto Asima Sakha Cheti, you have discussed. And then that was Arjuna's question. So this is Krishna's reply, first reply, what we have discussed. Bahuni me vyatitani, janmani tavacha Arjuna, tani aham veda sarvani, natvam vetta parantapa. He says tani aham. Aham means I. Veda means no. Sarvani, I remember everything. Natvam, but you, vetti parantapa. You don't remember, even though you are very, very special. Parantapa. Parantapa means very, very efficient, very, very expert. So expertise in this world doesn't guarantees that we will become spiritually also very elevated, right? Spiritual elevation is a different subject matter altogether. So then Krishna mentioned another verse, uniqueness of Krishna's appearance. How does Krishna appear? Ajo apisan avyayatma, bhutanam ishvaro apisan, prakritim swam adhishtaya, swambhavami atma mayaya. This is a very, very important verse. All of you can remember this verse. Ajo apisan avyayatma. Krishna speaks about himself, that what he is. He's aja. Aja means unborn. Apisan avyayatma. Avyayatma means it does not depreciate. Bhutanam Ishvaro Opisan, and everybody is a manifestation of him. Prakritim Swam Adhishtaya Sambhavami Atma Mayaya. Prakritim Swam Adhishtaya. He says, all this material arrangement is mine. Right? Like when we see a very beautiful house, very beautiful big garden, lawn, car, all the arrangements is there. We ask, Kiska ghar hai bhai? And then the owner comes out, this is my home. So here Krishna says, Prakritim Swam Adhishta, this is my Prakriti. Swambhavami Atma Mayaya. And Krishna says, how do I manifest? When I manifest, it is all my arrangements. Like when president or prime minister has to come somewhere, how do they come? Do they book an Indigo flight? And airport mein wo security gate pe khare hai, and then boarding pass lenge se bole nahi aapka 15 kilo se zyada ho gaya, zyada paisa dijiye. Does he have to do like this? Nothing like this. They have their own arrangements, and in their own arrangements they descend, right? So in that same way, Lord also says like this. So when we see the form of the Lord, two-handed form and playing a flute, not something very costly. Even if you consider different musical instruments, Spandan knows actually. I think a flute costs less than any other instruments, right? Even a harmonium, mridanga, or like whatever, right? So flute is like so less costly. Krishna is just playing a flute with some cows around, not even horses. Horses are very costly animals, right? Not even horses, but cows are around, and he's there in Vrindavan, in a forest. Who likes to stay in a forest, right? Everybody is busy in buying properties in the heart of the city, and that's how the properties are advertised also. And Hamara property jo hai, that is in the heart of the city, But Krishna is there in a forest. So immediately what happens, the next thought that comes, oh, he may be very ordinary. But Krishna says, no, 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 not that, not that. Though I don't flaunt myself, but because you are asking, so I'm replying. So it is like this. He says, Ajo apisan avyatma, bhutanam ishvaro apisan, prakritim samadishta. So that is the quality of Krishna. So if somebody has that kind of quality, wouldn't he perform extraordinary feats? Of course he will perform extraordinary feats, right? And that is the basis of his Bhagavad Gita. That is the reason Bhagavad Gita has to be studied, Bhagavad Gita has to be contemplated, Bhagavad Gita has to be meditated upon. Because who is speaking this? Krishna is speaking this. You know, Prakritim Samadishta, this whole material world is his arrangement. It belongs to him, right? Sambhavami Atma Maya. He says, whenever I descend not because of any cause and effect. I descend because of my Maya. I descend because of my understanding. You know what happens? Whenever we read scriptures like Mahabharata, then Mahabharata has many characters, many mystical characters, many characters like that. So when we read Mahabharata, then usually what happens, we become captivated in the many details of the story and we overlook Krishna's position. But in Mahabharata, Vyasdev actually gave so that he can give Bhagavad Gita, right? Because Bhagavad Gita is the intense topic. If that is only spoken, then people will not just be able to accept it. But the whole big Mahabharata is there, and within that, this Bhagavad Gita is there. So people will accept, oh, theek hai, Bhagavad Gita, just 700 shloka, but 1 lakh shloka of kaun, kisko, kisne kya kaha, right? किसको क्या बोला गया, कहाँ पे क्या हुआ, कहाँ पे पॉलिटिक्स हुआ, कहाँ पे इसने उसको बात सुनाया, उसने उसको कर्ज दिया, इसकी पिटाई हुआ, उसकी पिटाई हुआ, इधर थोड़ा रोमांस हुआ, उधर ये हुआ, वो हुआ, like it is all big story, right? So Vyasdev gave Mahabharata so that he can give Bhagavad Gita. And point is that when we start reading with the purview of Mahabharata, then we start considering Krishna to be very ordinary. That is the reason we should know about Krishna from Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. And then we will be able to practice spiritual life very nicely. You know, in spiritual life, the concept of khichdi does not work. That I will study everything, I'll understand everything, and I'll also advance in spiritual life. This basically does not works very nicely in spiritual world, in spiritual life. In spiritual life, the focus has to be, you know, one-pointed. One has to be focused. Even if in your studies, if you are not focused, can you accomplish anything? Not actually. You can't have good result. You can't have much if you are not studying properly, right? So unless and until we are focused, till that time, we cannot advance in spiritual life. Until that time, this kind of truth does not come to us. Until the time this kind of truth does not come to us, till that time we cannot understand the supreme position of Krishna. And we are in a completely crippled state. We are like totally crippled spiritually. Spiritually, we are crippled, right? And in that spiritually crippled stage, we want to conclude. How unfortunate this is, isn't it? In that crippled state, we are concluding. In that crippled stage, suppose if somebody is like crippled, like his limbs are not growing properly, he's having malnutrition, and he says, मैं जाके अभी weight lifting करके आऊंगा, right? या किसी के साथ से कौन है यहाँ पे? हाँ, योगेश के साथ या माधव के साथ वो बोलता है मैं कुश्ती लड़ूंगा, right? Will he be able to sustain himself? नहीं हो पाएगा उनका, right? What he should do ideally? He should say that I'll get nutrition, I'll get energy, I'll eat food nicely, and then I'll build up myself, and then I'll go to understand that and conclude over there, right? So similarly, when we are spiritually crippled, in that crippled stage, when we conclude spiritual truth, then that is the biggest misfortune. That is the biggest misfortune. So we need to persevere. And with that perseverance, we need to move ahead. And after we are spiritually strong and stout, right, then we can conclude, come to the conclusion, right? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Any question or comment from anyone? किसी का कोई प्रश्न? Okay. I
Prabhu,
hope. Yes, Hare Krishna.
I was asking, what we learned today. There are these godmen out there, like, who speak in similar terms. Like Krishna is speaking like, he is the supreme personality, and that, those who cannot understand the demons and atheists, you have to be a devotee to understand them, and in all that. Certain godmen also speak in similar terms.
Yeah.
Those who take advantage of it, not the godmen as in those who work in temples, or but the bad ones, essentially the guru, Damrahims and all. So my question is that how can we differentiate who is the true godman and who is not, because they speak in similar terms.
Right. Because when Krishna is saying all these things, he's substantiating that also. There are many scriptures who will substantiate Krishna by his name, and substantiate that Lord is like this, the qualities. But unfortunately, this God man who proclaim themselves to be God, like our Guru is God, that is usually their concept. Their name is nowhere there in the scripture. If you ask them that fine, your Guru is God, show me a scripture which mentions the name of your Guru and tells that he is God. Dikhaiye ek. They will not be able to find any scriptures, right? So that is one aspect. And secondly, as far as the qualification of spiritual teachers or God man, as you said, or spiritual teacher, I would say, is concerned, a proper spiritual teacher will never tell himself to be God. They will always tell himself that I'm a messenger of God, I'm a servant of God, right? And his mood will be to accept disciples or to accept students so that he can educate them about God, not about himself, right? There's a famous quote by Srila Prabhupada where Srila Prabhupada says, Krishna says, I am God. We are saying Krishna is God. Is there any difference between our teaching and what Krishna is teaching? There is no difference, right? Krishna is saying that he is God. We are also telling Krishna is God. So the teaching is same, right? That means we are getting the same teaching. So a real spiritual teacher will always speak from scripture. His spiritual talks will be substantiated by spiritual evidences, right? Scriptural evidences. He will speak from scripture. So this is very important. And a spiritual teacher will practice whatever he is speaking. He's not like the clowns which are shown in the movies, or sometimes we also see in the real life. He will not be a clown speaking some lofty things and doing some stupid acts and things like that, or some cheap magic. Somebody came and told Srila Prabhupada that Swamiji, that spiritual teacher, that guru, basically he does different magic. Can you do some magic? Prabhupada said, I don't know any magic. But now in the whole world there is Rath Yatra. And I consider this is no less than a magic, right? The whole world is now celebrating Rath Yatra. So then whose magic is this? This is Krishna's magic. But through whom Krishna has revealed his magic? This Krishna has revealed through his devotees, right? So a real spiritual teacher will always glorify Krishna, and Krishna will always make arrangements so that he can glorify such spiritual teachers also. So there will be a transcendental competition between a real spiritual teacher and God. They will always try to glorify, they will always continue to glorify each other, right? So these are the qualification of real spiritual teacher. Does it answers? Hare Krishna. There is another question. Yeah, Ravi is asking, Krishna ajanma hai, to hum Janmashtami kyun manate hain? Yes, Krishna is ajanma, but still he gives us days. Krishna ajanma hai, इसलिए आप कृष्ण को भूल जाएंगे. That is not done, na. या भगवान, जैसे कुछ लोग बोलते हैं मंदिर में क्यों जाना है, भगवान तो हर जगह है। तो इसलिए मंदिर में जाना है सो दैट भगवान हर जगह है बोल के हम लोग जो भगवान को भूल गए थे उस चीज को याद दिलाने के लिए हम लोगों को मंदिर जाना है। एंड सिमिलरली कृष्णा इज अजन्मा बट स्टिल ही गिव्स दिस काइंड ऑफ फेस्टिवल्स। व्हाई? So that on those days we can intensify ourselves by remembering Krishna. It is for us he gave this festival, right? Not for his own self. Not for his own self that he did that. जैसे एक फेमस एग्जाम्पल जो है जो चैतन्य चरण प्रभु देते हैं, पानी हर जगह में, there is water everywhere in the form of water vapors, right? But to quench our thirst we need to go to a tap. That tap has specifically in the water is there in liquid form and we can fill a bottle and have water, right? Or there is radio waves everywhere but only our phone can catch those waves, we can't catch. Similarly कृष्ण अजन्मा है लेकिन फिर भी भगवान ये सब डेट्स को काइंडली स्वीकार करते हैं और वो सब डेट्स हम लोगों को देते हैं ताकि हम लोग भगवान के भक्ति कर पाए। हरे कृष्णा। Any other thing? Any other
Hare
question?
Krishna Prabhuji.
बोलिए।
I have one question. Prabhuji, as you have answered and mentioned one first point that there are many God man theory, God man who's जो अपने आप को भगवान का दूत कहते हैं। ऐसे बहुत सारे लोग ऐसे हैं, बहुत सारा ऐसा संस्था है जो कि लोगों को बहुत अच्छा से हिप्नोटाइज करना जानते हैं और बहुत अच्छा से उनके दिमाग के साथ में खेलते हैं और ये कहते हैं कि हम भगवान का एक अवतार है। सो और इन लोगों से कैसे डील किया जाए? बहुत हैं, ऐसे एक दो नहीं है, बहुत सारे हैं।
तो भगवान का अवतार भी शास्त्रों में होगा ना, भगवान के सारे अवतार भी तो शास्त्र में मेंशन्ड है। कौन से शास्त्र में आपका अवतार, आप जो अवतार है वो कौन से शास्त्र में मेंशन्ड है बताइए। बस आप वो शास्त्र में उनको लेके आ जाइए, वहां पे दूध का दूध और पानी का पानी हो जाएगा।
वो तो अपना नया शास्त्र बना रहे हैं।
नहीं, नया शास्त्र नहीं चलेगा। नया शास्त्र नहीं चलेगा। आप बोलिए कि ये 4 वेद है, 108 उपनिषद है, पुराण है, ये सब के अंदर में बताइए कौन सा जगह में उनका अवतार जो है वो बताया गया है। कहीं पे तो होगा कि वो अवतार है, कहीं पे तो मेंशन रहेगा। भगवान के सारे अवतार का हिस्ट्री रिकॉर्डेड है। हरी हरी, हरे कृष्णा। तो नेक्स्ट वीक, नेक्स्ट ट्यूसडे आई थिंक इज रथ यात्रा, 20 तारीख को। तो I request all of you, please do come. We will have this beautiful festival of Rath Yatra. थोड़ा रथ चलेगा, सेवा रहेगा, आप लोग सेवा करिएगा। And बीच में भी sometimes you can come to perform something in front of Jagannath. I'll speak to special personalities, especially talented personalities like Spandan, Samarpan. They can come and do something for Jagannath. Jagannath 9 दिन के लिए रहेंगे, तो कुछ प्रोग्राम प्लान करना होगा। I'm yet to plan anything, but कुछ ना कुछ करना होगा ही। So all of you please come on, especially on Tuesday. Don't miss that Tuesday, रथ यात्रा। कहीं पे भी आप हो उस दिन प्लीज आ जाइएगा। 4 to 6, 4 से 6, साढ़े 6 बजे तक रथ यात्रा रहेगा। And after that some prasad and all. हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, गौर भक्त वृंद की जय, भगवद गीता की जय, निताई गौर प्रेमानंदे, हरि हरि बोल।